From my last video, I've experimented on installing the MicroSlate firmware on my Xteink X4, and what is my first impression about it? And honestly, I was quite intrigued by the writing concept on such a tiny device, and I wanted to test it out as an on-the-go writer deck and how I use it in tandem with my analog journaling. In today's video, I think this will just be an update after using the MicroSlate firmware. I will be sharing on what is my on-the-go writer deck setup, what kind of writing I actually do with it, what is the pros and cons, how is the overall experience that I have with this, and who I think this MicroSlate is for, and what will be my future plan with this. With that said, let's get right into it. Before anything else, I want to share with you guys what is my current setup. So this is what it actually looks like. This is the most Frankenstein setup I've ever done with the X4. It may not be the most ergonomic setup, but hey, this still works, and here are the tools that I've used. Number one is the Xtienk X4, the original one, and we've got the mini Bluetooth keyboard that I've got online. This is from Shopee, and we've got this. This is actually a MagSafe laptop phone stand that you put on the side of your screen, and you put your phone on this side. So this is kind of interesting dynamic that I've put in here. I got this from a local gadget store. You can probably get this from online as well. And I keep on seeing this kind of setup on Reddit. This is the best version that I could come up with at this moment, and I think it is pretty workable. So I have the keyboard stuck to the side of this. So I have my mini keyboard stuck to this 3M sticker on the side of the stand, and it's holding pretty good actually. I mean, I wouldn't be too confident on this, but it's still stuck there pretty good. So I just let it sit there for the entire time. And I do have this magnetic part right here where I can attach the X4. And you have your portrait mode just like this. I could also switch this to a landscape mode. I usually put it like this, and I think the positioning of the magnet of the X4, it doesn't feel really centered. So you can see that it is a little bit off centered right here, but I think it is still workable in a portrait mode. And also if it's on landscape, you can tell that there is the huge gap right here. It's also because I need this gap to fill in when I'm using the portrait mode right here. So this is kind of weird looking gap right there, but I think that is still okay. In the future, maybe a good 3D print of a casing, like a clam closure type of casing to hold all these pieces together. But as of now, I think this is what we are working with. So I mainly use this for journaling writing whenever I'm on the go. Personally, I don't use this as a to-do list because I do prefer the analog way in terms of doing a lot of notes, a lot of changes, so it gets really messy. I do a lot of reflections or thinking process, and having a dedicated setup gave me an outlet that is really less distraction, no notification or anything like that, and using my phone or any other e-ink devices that I actually own, like the Boox. And writing is the only thing that you can do with the X4 besides from reading, because these also have a dual boot if that is something that you've installed. You can also have a standalone writing firmware only, but having this kind of setup is pretty good because if you want to be more focused and dealing with only one task, then I think this setup is the one for you. Of course, with this kind of setup, there will be pros and cons. So let's break it down a little bit. It is a dual boot system, and you can simply choose to do that, or you can opt for a single firmware. But for me, I did have a cross point. That is what I've installed on my X4. so you can read at the same time if you prefer to have both firmwares on your device. So over here you can read as the usual crosspoint firmware, and at the bottom right here you have another option to go for the MicroSlate if you want to start writing as well. Now, the number one thing about the X4 in general, it is a distraction-free device. There are no notification, no other apps that can distract you from either reading or writing. So that is one good thing about this as well. It is very basic and simple. It is nothing fancy, unlike any other writing apps that you have on your computer or on your iPad or any tablet. It is a very simple note-taking device that you can simply do any time that you want. So simply just text. It is a .txt file format. You can definitely open that as well on your computer right after drafting your files here on your X4. One of my concerns actually is if the entries that I put inside here will be stuck here forever, but fortunately the MicroSlate have two ways to upload or sync to your local computer. Number one of them is the SD card way. You do have your SD card here, whereby when you start writing and you saved it, it will store inside your SD card. Another way is you can do the sync. So this will automatically sync to your local computer after you do the initial setup of it. Now the setup is a little bit technical, I would say, because coming from someone who does not have a technical background, I think I still used ChatGPT to help me do the initial setup of the syncing process. So when I click this sync and it will scan my Wi-Fi and your laptop is connected to the same Wi-Fi, it will start doing the sync automatically. So now it's syncing like so right here. If I open my laptop to that particular folder, it will sync the number of files that are not synced yet. And of course, it is light, it is portable, and just an additional with this setup, but either way it is still portable in any situation. You can put it on your bag or maybe a bigger pocket, and you can have this on the go anytime, anywhere. And yeah. Now the disadvantages. Now one of them is something that is really obvious. I've mentioned it before in my last video, the latency issue. It is pretty slow. There are some delays. I'm not gonna lie, I'm a little bit bugged out about that. But that's something you have to deal with if you want to do this on your X4. Another thing is this entire setup. It is a lot of parts. Now there are 3 parts, and of course these two are attached together permanently, and it does get a little inconvenient putting this inside my bag along with this. Now alone with this is perfectly okay, but with this setup that I currently have, it is a little bit of a hassle putting this inside my bag because it occupies a lot of space. I'm just thinking if the bottom right here could swivel up, I want to keep it inside my bag or my pocket and then swivel it back this landscape mode if I want to type. But that is something that is not possible at the moment because this is glued and it cannot move at all. So yeah, I'm stuck with this. Personally, that is something I have to deal with at the moment because this is a quick setup that I've just came up with based on what I've seen on Reddit, and I'm trying to replicate it the best that I could with the resources that I could find online and in my area. Another thing that I've noticed as well, that this thing doesn't have auto capitalization, so everything in here is very manual. As you can tell, I don't have any capitalization or even spelling correction, so I kind of give up on any of those while I'm using this. So that is something to keep in mind. But once you've synced this on your computer, you can definitely edit that on your computer, which is a lot easier. But when you're drafting, when you're writing, I think this is something that you have to be cautious about. If you're very much OCD like me, I think eventually it will really distract you a lot when you try to read back. But over time, if you're able to accept that kind of flaw, then I think it is still okay working with this. I've also noticed that the battery kind of depletes a lot faster than having a one firmware only, because when I run the MicroSlate and I continue running for a longer session and then I move over to the Crosspoint UI, I think the battery kind of runs a little bit faster. That is something that I've noticed over time. Now another thing is my keyboard. Now my keyboard is okay, the size is definitely okay for me. I think it is the perfect size for this because it is about the same length as well. But my issue with this keyboard is the keys itself, because the keys are rubber and I have to press really deep to get those letters out, and sometimes it will auto trigger like double D or double S on the screen. So that is something that really kind of a disadvantage for me. But eventually I think if there is a better keyboard out there, then I might change out. There's this another keyboard called Power Keyboard by Qwerks. Now that is something I'm really interested in testing out, but I did read on some of the Reddit comments saying that they tried it, but the X4 cannot detect the Bluetooth of the Power Keyboard, and I've read more than one person having that same comment. So I'm quite hesitant now on getting that keyboard, but initially I wanted to buy that keyboard because it is a perfect setup, I would say. But seeing those comments kind of deter me to really test it out and spend like $100 getting that keyboard when it's not working for this. Another issue that I've read online as well is that some Bluetooth keyboard cannot be detected with the X4 for some reason. Now, I'm not knowledgeable on what kind of Bluetooth keyboard that really works with the X4. Based on my experience, I've used it on this mini Bluetooth keyboard on my Logitech MX Keys Mini. It works on this and it works on this. So in terms of that is something you have to keep in mind, that apparently not all Bluetooth keyboard works or can be detected with the X4. And lastly, the fading of the screen under direct sunlight. Now this is an old issue with the X4 way back when it was first launched. Now I have that similar issue as well with my initial impression of my X4. Now I'm not too sure if it's the firmware issue or maybe it's just really the screen issue of the X4 in general. It is the same issue as before, the same thing with the MicroSlate. So that is something to keep in mind as well about the fading of the text. But once I see that fade and I click any of the keys, it will refresh back to a normal screen again. Now overall, I think it is still a good on-the-go setup because it really does work with a couple of caveats. I use this while I'm waiting for my order of food, or when I wake up, or before I sleep. Technically, whenever I feel like journaling and when I want to read, then I simply go back to my Crosspoint UI again, just continue with my books. It is a too simple task on a distraction-free small device like this. Just keep in mind of the pros and cons that this have along with this entire setup. It may not be perfect, but it is a workable on-the-go mini writer deck, as you may call it. Personally, these are the things that I've experienced along the way of using this. This could be for people who both wants to write and read at the same time on the X4. You can have a dedicated UI for writing, like the MicroSlate, and also Crosspoint for reading. At the moment, I think it only works for the X4, the original, and the Crosspoint firmware. I don't see any other devices or firmwares that works with it just yet. And if you're already using the X4 for Crosspoint, then you can definitely have best of both worlds if you want to do some writing as well. And if you're a writer, you can definitely use this as well. You can have a mini drafting device on the go. If you prefer an environment with no apps or notification, it is an offline device that you can use to write or draft or journaling, whatever you want to write. And you can save your work as well on the SD card provided right here, or you can also sync it through Wi-Fi automatically to your local computer or laptop. And for people also who prefer a smaller writer deck. Now, I've been obsessed with writer decks, especially on Reddit. I've been scouring that subreddit for a long time now, and I do want to have like those micro journals or those Pomera Japanese writer decks, but this could also be one writer deck that you could use if you already have your X4 and you're using crosspoint. Just get yourself like a mini keyboard like this and any stand or any magnetic stand, to be honest, like this. You can have it attached to your X4 like that, and you have your mini keyboard right here. You can also do like a landscape mode as well, and just write however you want to write, like so. So if you prefer a smaller writer deck, then this could be it for you as well. Now, I would probably stick to this for a little while because I want to test it out more, but I am in a phase where I like to experiment a lot on the open source available for the X4. That is something that I like to do recently. So perhaps in the future, if I want to experiment one firmware, I would probably change out from this MicroSlate and moving on to something else. I do have a list of firmwares that I do want to try out eventually, and I do want to share with you guys on the experience of using it too. And also there is this new Xteink X4 Pro that just came out, and perhaps we will hear more updates in the community with that. That is something that I do want to try out if it works on other open source once I get my hands on it. So hopefully I would play both devices with the original and the Pro version and compare side by side which one I would think is a good device for your everyday tech. So that is what I have for you today. Those are my thoughts and experience with the MicroSlate and dual boot with the crosspoint. I hope you get some information out of this, and in the next few videos, let's see if I would experiment on other firmwares, and I hope you'll be interested in finding out more other stuff that we can do with the X4. I do have the Substack article written on this right in the description below. Check that one out as well. And if you have any questions or any comments, do feel free to write them on the comments below. So my question for you today is, would you install the MicroSlate on your X4? Is it just the MicroSlate only, or would you do the dual boot with the crosspoint as well? Let me know why. And if you already installed the MicroSlate, what do you think about it? What is your experience like? And I do want to know, what is your setup looking like? I really am interested in what kind of setup you guys have for MicroSlate. And that is what I have for you guys today. Until then, I will catch you on the next one. Bye!